Just make sure everything's good.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so last session, quite a lot happened. Torben acquired Wee Jimmy's magical trinket after saving Wee Jimmy from the City Watch after an owlbear escaped, being transported from Dockward to Wee Jimmy's magical creatures little show that was happening in the marketplace as part of the second day of the festivals, part of the Ocean Bounty Festival. The party has gained something of a celebrity status in the Southern Dock Ward, thanks to Armour, Zavago, and Tarbin beating up some of Thurn's thugs, who are running something of a racketeering racket in the southern part of the Dock Ward. Armour was given 3 fishing rods by Rob of Rob's Rods after he recognised him in the market a couple of hours later. Stories of the owlbear slaying during the Ocean Bounty Festival will probably be told each year now, something of a water-deep folklore. Talking of folklores, Tarbin bought a book from the marketplace, it called Fabulous Folklore Fables. He also has worn out his welcome at the spires. The Order of Lathander will no longer welcome Tarbin or the rest of the party, apart from Armour, back to the spires after Tarbin pushed too much for information in a quite innocently naive, but at the same time a little bit rude way for more information about Lathander and the Order.
Completely unintentional,
well,
I might add.
That's what I like about your character. It's like he's this traveller from the south. He doesn't know much of the world apart from stories he's been told, and he just has this like innocently naive, almost like Forrest Gump. But this is how I'm saying it anyway. I don't know if this is true. Life is like a box. Anyway, I quite like it. I like it a lot. But it wasn't just the way you were asking. It was also Tarbin and Zavago damaging the walls of the spire after Zavago was firing some of Tarbin's magical pebbles out of his hands. He wasn't doing it on purpose. He was just trying to break the pebbles, but he didn't know they were magic pebbles, and they were flying out of his hands and crashing into the walls. Armour has requested to be informed when the High Radiance awakens before they leave, if he does. And I think that's it. Have I missed anything out?
No, I think that's about it. We were walking towards the stadium or the arena, because there's going to be a tournament or something.
Oh yeah, the Field of Triumph. So in the evening, the Field of Triumph sort of has like before the nighttime festival starts, the Ocean Bounty Festival. The Field of Triumph does have like this grand battle where lots of people go and watch. Wagers happen, and there's a mingling of people from the Sea Ward and the City Ward and the Dock Ward. You know, everyone's welcome. So you do get a mixture of the rich and the poor, because on this day there is no entrance fee. Usually there is an entrance fee, so you do get a mixed crowd. Yeah, you're entirely free still to go there if you want to, because you were going to go there as part of a meeting with Wee Jimmy, but that meeting has since ran its course. There's no need for that meeting because Wee Jimmy, with his little halfling tail tucked between his legs, has went back fully defeated. And I think he's still going to end up giving you a creature cage. Is that right?
Yeah, as far as we know, he got somebody to have that delivered to the ship.
Yes, that's what I had written down as well. Good. Okay, then, so let's. Do you want to head straight to the Field of Triumph now, or is there anything you'd like to do?
I think we were on our way there last time.
Yeah.
When we ended. Actually, we were on our way there when we ran into the owl bear.
Yeah, that's right. So that owlbear was being transported to the market for part of Wee Jimmy's show. It was transported in a wooden crate. broke out the crate after the horse and cart bobbled along the cobblestones and weakened it. Yeah, and it broke out. Thankfully, our heroes were there to save the day. Okay, then, so you make your way towards the Field of Triumph. You walk past the spires of Lathander, the spires of Dawn, and you notice that the guard who's been there since the morning, it sort of like gives you a look as you walk past and sort of motions towards the door with one hand as if blocking entrance. He knows you're not welcome there. He reluctantly gives a polite nod to Armor because he knows that this isn't precisely Armor's fault.
Isn't precisely Armor's fault.
I nod back and just continue on.
So as you approach the Field of Triumph, there's just like a sea of people coming through into the entranceway, and it is a good, huge mixture of people. You can see that there are people who are dressed to show off their wealth, accompanied, as you'd expect, by bodyguards. And there's people from the Dock Ward, and there's people from the South Ward. So everyone from the city's coming to the Field of Triumph to see the battle, and you can just hear it in the air that there's, that arena, that crowd, that chatter, people chatting about what they're going to see, people chatting about what's happened throughout the day, and you hear one or two people say, "Oh, look, there's the heroes of the Street of the Sword who well, not the Street of the Sword. There's the heroes from Warrior's Way who defeated the owlbear," and they're sort of like, "Oh, yes, yes, yes," and so it's patting you on the shoulders, and they're trying to like mingle with you as if you're part of their group. So as you walk in, there's a crowd of people who are walking in with you, and there is a little bit of a sense of this local celebrity status now. What would you like to do?
Tarbas is gonna look to Zavargo. This is your show. What would you like to do?
Let's try to get some good seats towards the front. If you get close enough, there might get some blood splatter on you. Is that all right with you, Tarbin?
Yes, that is perfectly fine.
Perfect. Maybe we'll even get to join the fight, depending on what they have.
Oh, I hope not.
Come on. Let's have some fun.
Haven't we had enough fun for today? That owlbear was quite the adventure.
It was an adventure, and it was definitely fun. But who's to say you can't have a little more, huh?
Oh, I can certainly have some more fun, but perhaps not today. I'm spent.
I understand. Fine, we'll stay and watch a couple fights. Just gotta get my fill, and we'll leave.
Sure.
Okay, so you make your way around like the concourse of the Field of Triumph. It's like there's wooden support beams holding up the seats, and underneath the support beams there is like this little concourse where some people who haven't got seats are just looking in between the slants and the gaps of for the Americans out there, the bleachers, to try and sorry everyone, to see things. And there's also like a few shady looking people, as you'd expect, who are taking bets on the side away from the official bookies of the Field of Triumph. And probably there's a few people who are trying to sell things, and possibly mementos and replicas of famous swords and shield items, if you like, of well-known warriors of the past who have fought within the Field of Triumph. What would you like to do?
We'll just go ahead and take our seats and be ready for the fight.
Okay, roll a perception check.
Oh, all of us?
Yeah, I mean, you're all looking for a seat. You haven't got any official seats, so you're just looking for the best seats possible.
Damn, we're wasting them all.
No nat 20s for the rest of the night. Alright, so Arma's got a good eye, and he thinks he spotted a great seat. but he just feels two different hands on his shoulder. One's this dragonborn claw hand on his left shoulder. The other one's a softer hand on his right shoulder. Zavago and Tarman are pretty sure they've just spotted the best seats in the house, right on the front row, right in between this guy who looks like he's very rich. He's wearing fabulous clothing. Next to him is a bodyguard, and then next to him is an older man who, if you believe in these sort of things, looks like a stereotypical old weathered wizard, complete with old cloth pointy hat and robes.
Could I just look around to make sure that these seats aren't taken?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
it sounds too good to be true. It sounds like we're gonna sit down and then somebody's gonna show up and go, "Hey, that's my seat."
well, you can tell these seats haven't been taken. Your nat 20 is
All right.
Your perception is so wise. You've got like these heightened senses. You can just tell no one sat there. Nobody's looking around for their friends who haven't came back, and it even looks like 2 or 3 people might be heading towards these spare seats and they look as surprised as you that they haven't been taken yet.
So Argo, let's take those places.
Yeah, quick, Arma, come on.
All right, let's go.
That sounded like Zavargo was just seconds away from throwing Arma at the seats.
I was considering
Nobody
it.
tosses them
Decided not to.
So Zavargo's like power walking forward. He isn't bothered about anyone in his way, and some people are just getting out of his way, mistaking him for a warrior who's arrived late.
I'm following right behind and apologizing to anybody who was disturbed.
He's a bit like a charger in a blocker in American football. He's creating a path, and the rest of you are just in his wake as he carves a path through these people towards the seat. And you get there just in time before the other group arrives. And Zavago just sits himself right down in the middle of the seat, taking up all the space around him until the 3 other members of his party arrive.
I shrug at the other party as I sit down.
Perfect. You guys will have to find better seats somewhere else.
This not noble but quite a rich man and his family turn around and they're like, "I can't believe it. They let anyone in on this day. Ugh, riffraff."
Racist.
So he walks away with his family. And you've got a great view of the Field of Triumph. You're sitting in the north stand of the Field of Triumph, looking right down across the whole field. The entranceways to your left from where you came in, and it's just this strange smell of the salt sea coming in as the waves are crashing up against the cliff, causing the spray to come up, and you get that fresh smell of the salt air mixed with the smell of the meat and the food from the marketplace coming in. And there's another smell as well, and it's the smell of fighting. This place has been fighting all day. As Zavago mentioned earlier, that the weaker fighters, the less exciting fights happen earlier on. It's like the pre-card to the show, like the preliminary rounds, if you like. And the better fights happen leading up to this point now, so it just smells of like blood, sweat, tears, that kind of thing. It's a lovely smell. But there's also like the smell of metal on metal clashing, that bronzy, metallic-y smell hanging in the air too. Would you like to do anything while you wait?
Zavargo, do you know who is going to fight today?
Nope, sure don't. Hey, you. He's motioning to the noble person sitting kind of next to us. Hey, you have a card that says all the fighters on it?
He looks at you and he says, "Oh, my good man, yes I do indeed." And he pulls out this little scroll that's got fabulously written details of what's going to happen on today. Ugh.
Let me take a look at that.
Do you reach out to grab it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, do a sleight of hand. So,
Correct.
so the bodyguard that was sitting on the other side. So you're sat like to the left of this nobleman, and then the bodyguard sat to the right. The bodyguard reaches across and slaps your hand. Well, not with force, but just with like the momentum and the technique he's used. The slap just flies your hand away from the nobleman right back into your own lap. It's a bit, it's a bit daunting, to be honest. It's like a parent bashing away a kid's hand away from a hot fire type of thing.
Whoa. Hey, buddy. I'm not getting crazy here. Just trying to see the scroll. Can I see the scroll, please?
Oh, don't worry about this, Trey. I will deal with this. They'll know a man turns to his bodyguard, Trey. And for him, this is a great day out, to mingle with people below him. It's sort of his day. And he hands you the card. And on the scroll, the handwriting is so delicate, so well written, that you can't actually make sense of it, Zavago. It's too nice handwriting for you.
This is stupid. What? Who wants to read this for me?
I'll take it and I'll attempt to read it.
Crumble.
Armor takes from his hand and looks over the scroll.
Okay, so Armor, you can see that there are 2 fights that are going to happen this evening, which is quite a low number. The first fight is going to be between the Dragon Ball Balvenie, who is a member of the City Watch, who you've already met, and a human by the name of Sylvester. That's all it says, just Sylvester. Balvenie is the clear favourite for this fight, and he is something of a local hero, being Waterdeep's own. And the last fight it's called a team battle. There are 4 members on each team. There is a team from Neverwinter and a team from Baldur's Gate who are going to fight each other. Both fights have got a little asterisk next to them that says this isn't a death fight. So these fights aren't to the death. They're just for honour and pride as part of the festival.
Oh, look at this, Zavargo. Your friend Balvenie is going to be fighting first. He's going up by himself against some guy named Sylvester.
Balvenie, huh? Hey, Tarbin, you want to make a bet?
What kind of bet are you thinking?
I'm putting my money on Balvenie.
Sure, I'll put 2 gold on the human.
You would side with them.
As you would with the Dragonborn.
The noble who's been watching you reading the scroll, he leans over and he goes, "Oh, my good men and dragon and lady elf, I'll be putting my money on Balvenie, Waterdeep's finest."
Perfect. You're a good man already siding with the strong one.
He pats his right pocket and you can hear that it has like this deep jingle of gold coin in it. And he goes, "I will put in 10 gold." And he puts 10 gold into your hand, Zavago.
10 gold on Balvenie?
On Balvenie.
Is anybody even betting against Balvenie?
Why would anyone bet against Waterdeep's own Balvenie?
I did.
I know you did. Shut up. I'm talking about anybody important. What about you, Arma? You want in on this bet?
Ooh, I tend to try not to bet my gold. It's better spent on more productive things.
Stupid monks. What about you, Lore?
No, I'm good.
You guys are so boring. Fine, whatever.
The noble nudges Trey, the bodyguard. Come on, Trey. Get a little bit of the action here. And Trey just grunts and he goes, "Oh, Sylvester, 5 gold." Okay, so as the crowd sort of get excited because it's getting towards the time for the first fight of Balvenie and Sylvester, and there's just this great big gong, like this crashing of a cymbal, and it just goes gong, and the crowd sort of cheers along with the gong, and somewhere there's like party popper type of stuff, and streamers are thrown into the arena as the fighters come out. First comes out Balvenie. He's dressed in like this ancient sort of looking, very ornamental almost, dragon-born barbarian armor. It's very minimalistic. It's got a leather sort of holding slash going across his chest, and on his left shoulder there's a great big spiked shoulder pad, and in his right arm he has this great big, it should be a two-handed greatsword, but he has such strength he's holding it in one hand as he comes out. And next to him's walking this human, medium-sized, about 6 foot. He looks fairly well built, but compared to Balvenie he just looks like nothing. And he's dressed in like these black leather armor, studded armor, brown trims, all the way completely black. And he has black hair which is sort of swooped to the side, and he's carrying 2 daggers. He has like a worn face. He's probably from the streets somewhere, maybe not Waterdeep, it's hard to tell, but you can tell that he hasn't had sort of like a good upbringing. And the crowd is cheering and shouting on. "Ah, you bet on Sylvester. Oh, Trey. Oh, and you, Dragon's friend. You've bet on the wrong man." Okay, so the fighters reach the middle and they turn and they bow to each other, as is customary before anyone fights in the Field of Triumph. And the next thing they do is it's a bit unique for Waterdeep before they fight. They put their weapons on the floor and they allow each other to inspect the weapons. And each fighter has a little look around at the weapon. The human struggles, to be honest, to pick up the great sword, so he sort of just turns it over on the floor and has a look at it. And then they bow again, they pick up their own weapons, and they stand 10 yards away from each other waiting for the next gong, which will signal the fight. And all the way around the Field of Triumph now is there's chants for Balvenie, and you can just hear them, "Balvenie! Balvenie! Balvenie!" And he raises his left hand as a little signal that he's heard the chants. And a great big roar comes up from the crowd. Would you like to RP anything before the fight starts?
Man, this seems like Balvenie's gonna win this. Glad I didn't bet against him. Seeing him up close, I can't see him losing.
Exactly. This is in the bag. Tarbin, it's not too late to change your bet. The fight hasn't started.
I am sticking with my bet. It's in the end it will depend on if it's a close battle or if it's a ranged battle.
What if I raise my bet? Would you raise yours?
I doubt either of us can afford to raise it much.
Don't be too sure of yourself.
No, I'm talking about myself. I bought this very fancy book earlier. I take out the book and I show it to him. Lots and lots of text. Very few pictures.
All right, fine.
Okay. Do a perception check for me, please, Tob.
Sure.
Okay. So you can hear that the crowd are getting cheering on, and you notice that the nobleman's bodyguard Trey, he's got like quite a little smirk on his face. Then all of a sudden, all you can hear is gong, and the crowd erupt even more because the battle has just started. And the very first move goes to Balvenie, who, with some strange grace for a man, well, a dragonborn so big, sort of spins on his right heel. And as he's spinning, he holds out his sword, the great sword, which flings out in like a horizontal arc. It's almost head height for this human, but at foot height, Balvenie's tail is sweeping out as well, so it's almost like a double attack. But something amazing happens, and it takes the chant away from the crowd for a brief second, and it's a strange silence. Sylvester, the man dressed in the leather armor, he does this most graceful thing as he sort of spins in between the tail and the sword, the gap in between, and lands in his feet. The other side, and the crowd just go, Would you like to react to that?
Whoa, that was impressive.
What was that garbage? Come on, Balvenie!
Balvenie stops his spin, and both fighters are now facing each other. And Balvenie's just put like the point of his sword on the ground, and he's looking at Sylvester, who's smiling. And then the fight starts again, and slowly the crowd get their chant back going. Balvenie! Balvenie! And Balvenie takes a step forward and does like this slicing action up with his great sword, which Sylvester sort of dodges back with, and then hits a counterattack of his own. So as Balvenie swings up with his sword, Sylvester steps forward with his left hand, sort of just stabs forward with one of his daggers, and cuts down the right arm of Balvenie. And again the crowd go, It's like this weird collective gasp every time something happens.
You're right, Savargo. Maybe we should raise the stakes.
Shut up, Tarbin. Just watch the stupid fight.
Very well.
The battle continues, and there's a little bit of like to and fro where nothing really happens, and they counter each other's moves. You get a sense that Balvenie's probably underestimated Sylvester a little bit, and it's becoming pretty clear that this Sylvester is really, really agile for a man who looks to be middle-aged and pretty weathered and worn. And he just gracefully seems to dodge every attack coming his way. And he still manages to land like the odd 2 or 3 counter blows, but they're not very significant. They're just like surface cuts on Balvenie's thick scales. There is a point in the attack where Balvenie lunges forward with his shoulder and knocks Sylvester to the floor as he was going to attack, and Sylvester stumbles back, lands on his back, and Balvenie takes the momentum and he jabs down two-handed with his sword, and the sword pierces the ground as Sylvester does like a little kip up. So like, you know when you're on your back and you flick yourself up onto your feet. So he does that, just missing the sword that was coming down. Balvenie's sword stuck in the floor, and he's trying to pull it out, and Sylvester, as he flips up onto his feet, uses the momentum with his daggers in his hand, does like a double piercing thrust downwards. So as he's landing on his feet, his arms are coming up from above, and they're flying down, and he just buries these 2 daggers into the right arm of Balvenie, who lets out this really big roar that echoes around the Field of Triumph. It's not looking good.
What color was Balvenie again?
Red.
Does this mean that he's going to lit the whole place on fire now?
Balvenie's got to have something up his sleeve. Something. This is just wrong. A human can't. Humans can't take down dragonborns.
I do not believe he is wearing sleeves.
Shut up.
Balvenie just leaves his sword in the ground. It's sort of like this weird just reaction. With his left arm, he reaches forward and pulls out one of the daggers from his arm and throws it away. And he faces Sylvester. Balvenie's completely unarmed at the moment. And he's just standing there, sort of like both arms out by his side, as if it's like a wrestling pose, watching every move that Sylvester makes. And Sylvester's moving really slow, and like every footstep he makes sort of has like a purpose to it. It's sort of soft footsteps as he slowly creeps towards Sylvester like a cat towards its prey. He has no daggers now. One's buried in Balvenie's right arm, and the other one's been thrown away. So it's basically just hand-to-hand combat right now. And you can see that Balvenie's nostrils are flaring, and little bits of flame are coming out of them. Oh no, he can't use that. This isn't a fight to the death. No, it's not a fight to the death. You can't just inflame your opponent.
What does the Field of Triumph seem to be made of? I mean, the seats that we're sitting on and everything around us.
All the seats are wooden.
It's wood?
Yeah. Apart from
Right,
like the really, really, really posh seats, which are like reserved for members of the city ward, the noblemen, and the council members.
Tarvin is looking around for a bucket of water now.
And how big around is the field area?
You're talking about like they're in the middle at the moment, so his flame wouldn't reach anything. From where you are in the north point to the south stand, you're talking, what's that? It's going to be
200 feet?
Yeah, at least.
Alright.
Actually, from the widest angle, it should be about 300 feet, I think.
Oh yeah, I guess I could measure.
There's
Yeah.
a scale on the bottom.
Yeah. Can you... Yeah, okay. Yeah, probably 300 feet. Oh well. Alright.
So this is a huge, pretty like impressive arena. Okay, so the two men are they're sort of like circling around each other, waiting for someone to make a mistake. Balvenie's on the back foot a little bit now. He's had several little like soft stabs into his arms. He hasn't really been able to land a hit on this Sylvester guy. And there's a bit of a tension in the air now, and some parts of the arena, the Field of Triumph, are starting to chant for Sylvester, but the majority are still behind Balvenie. But it's a weaker chant than it was before. And there's definitely a sense of tension. Balvenie lunges forward, and Sylvester slips under the double-armed grab that you tried, and lands a kick into the shin of Balvenie. But it seems to hurt Sylvester more than Balvenie, because Balvenie is just like brute dragonborn muscle in scale. And you can see that Sylvester's hobbling back a little bit now, favouring his right foot. Balvenie takes the opportunity and goes for like a double-legged takedown, dives forward, grabs Sylvester by the legs, and pulls him to the floor. And Balvenie's now mounted on top of Sylvester. Oh dear.
This is more like it.
Dragon on man action?
Silence from the crowd as everyone overhears. It's not that kind of show. Balvenie punches forward with the right fist. It's like a massive fist. It's basically like a mace of a fist. He just clubs down forward with one right fist. But Sylvester raises up both of his arms, both of his forearms to block it. And he blocks it in time, but like the power and the momentum drives his forearms down into his face. And this goes on for a couple of minutes now. Sylvester trying to defend himself and the beating coming down. And then something strange happens. Sylvester grabs the dagger out of Balvenie's arm and slams it into Balveni's side. Yeah, there's a gasp from the crowd.
No way.
You hear this roar from Balveni as the dagger's like jabbed into his side. I mean, if you can imagine how you reacted when someone like tickles you in the side by mistake, or like it's like the kind of jerk up reaction, and Balveni just flings himself off of Sylvester. The dagger in his side, and he's like grasping his side trying to get it, but it's been put into such a place where his meaty dragonborn arms can't reach it. He can't pull it out of him. Sylvester gets to his feet and kicks, like a roundhouse kick, right into the side he's just stabbed the dagger into, and he's trying to aim for the dagger head. Dagger handle that's already sticking out of the side. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
This is not a fight to the death. He's taking it too far.
Don't worry, I'm sure they have healers.
Sylvester keeps attacking that side, keeps throwing in these big kicks into the side of Balveni, but he's thrown in one too many, and Balveni now knows the pattern of them, and he's managed to grab the leg of Sylvester as it comes flying in, and Balveni uses Sylvester's momentum against him, holding onto his leg, starts spinning around, and he's spinning this human around and around and around like a giant swing, around and around and around. And you can just hear this roar that seems to be growing from the crowd, but also from Balveni. With each swing, as he swings around 360, just round and around, you can hear Balveni just going. He just launches Sylvester across the field of triumph. He flies through the air, at least 50 foot, flies through the air, lands on his back, and skids across the floor, kicking dust and dirt everywhere as he lands. The crowd erupt into a huge cheer. Now that's more like it.
Hopefully you didn't think your guy would win there for a second, Tarbin.
Is it over?
Sylvester gets back to his feet.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, come on!
Likewise, Davargo.
He's still smiling, but it's a bit weaker than it was at the beginning of the fight. But he sort of like cockedly dusts himself down. You know, he's just patting the dust off one shoulder while looking at Zavargo as if that didn't hurt.
At Davargo or at Balveni?
Sorry, at Balveni. So he's brushing the dust off his shoulders and off his tunic, his leather-studded armour. And something catches his attention down to his side. It's the dagger that Balveni threw away. With the toe of his boot, he flicks the dagger up and catches it.
I turn to Arma. That is a very cool trick.
Yeah. I gotta practice that.
He does like a little fancy twirl with the dagger in his hand and just walks with a bit of a limp, a little bit of a, wary, beatenly down, stamina-wise, towards Balveni, who refuses to get his sword, which is sticking in the ground in between them, and he just walks towards the human. He's got like this weird look in his eyes as he walks towards him. The crowd are going absolutely mental. They're just cheering both men on now. It's getting to the point where if this had been like a fight to the death, they would have been shouting for blood. The two men finally meet in the middle, and they just go at it. Balveni's throwing big right haymaker fists. Sylvester's trying to duck under them while stabbing Balveni. And the two are just absolutely beating on each other. Balveni's getting cuts all over him. Sylvester's getting bruises all over him. And you can see that he's starting to get a little bit like knocked, not unconscious, but certainly starting to wobble on his feet. And they're just fighting and fighting and fighting. And they both fall to their knees, and they're still beating on each other as they fall to their knees. And then they just stop fighting. absolutely exhausted. And it's over.
So who won? What is this? They're both done?
The crowd are murmuring and mumbling among themselves, and you can hear a chant of more, 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 more. Oh, what a fight, but who won?
I don't know. And Zavargo is super gripping his chair.
Strength check.
Uh-oh.
Maybe.
Savago, strength check, please.
I'm trying. It's not cooperating.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, the lag.
Ah. Take the first one, not the second one.
Yeah. So you're gripping your wooden chair, and your claws pierce through the wood, and you're just like so tense muscle-wise that you don't even realize that your leg muscles are tensing up. And you bolt up, standing up, ripping the chair from the floor as you stand
Oh
up.
no.
The chair's gripped in behind you.
Who won the stupid fight?
Zavargo, I don't think you have to worry about sleep tonight. I believe you are repairing the arena.
Shut up, Tarbin. You're still talking.
As are you.
That is a very good observation.
The old wizard was sitting to your left looks over and he just goes, "You're distracting me from the fight."
I'm just
Oh,
gonna
I
like
beg your
pull my
pardon.
hood down.
To show off the horn sticking through.
Yeah. I bought a second hood to hide the horns.
Is that where you were those few hours this morning?
Yeah.
The nobleman sitting to your right looks over and goes, "I know who won the fight! Who won the fight?" He shouts out. And it seems to catch on a little bit. The rest is like, or where you're sitting in the north end, they're all shouting out, "Who won the fight? Who won the fight?" And it's spreading a bit like a Mexican wave all the way around the field of triumph. Everyone wants to know who won the fight? Who won the fight? Who won the fight? Balvenie stands up first. And the crowd cheer. And the chants for Balvenie start. Balvenie! Balvenie! He reaches down and picks up Sylvester the human by the scruff of the neck. And the crowd go even wilder. Balvenie! Balvenie! But then he grabs the human by the wrist and holds up Sylvester's hand as if declaring him the winner. And there is a gasp.
A Dragonborn is letting somebody else win?
Did he let him win, or is he just admitting defeat?
Oh, Balvenie's an honourable man. He must have thought that the human had the better of him.
I should have seen this from him. He's always pulling crap like this.
Zavargo, I hope you have learned something from this. Always pick up your weapon.
I do. I do always pick up my weapon for this exact reason.
And maybe don't bet with Tarbin anymore.
I reach out my hand to accept the gold.
Zavargo throws it all on the ground.
I hope he did it like that meme with the like sprinkling.
He just makes it rain. He's
Gold
making
Bay.
it rain.
Gold Bay.
Gold.
So as you throw this gold on the ground, the few people hear the unmistakable glitteringly clashing of gold hitting the floor, and they all look over.
I quickly pick it up. I really quickly pick it all up.
Investigation check, please. No, sorry, perception check.
Sure.
All of us? Or...
No, just Tobin.
I do not find the money. It has mysteriously disappeared.
You only find a handful of the money. It has scattered
Oh, no.
pretty much everywhere.
I guess the pool was right about, that was 18 gold pieces. So how much do I find?
Yeah, so you had 10 from the nobleman who was sat to the right. You put 2 gold in, so there's 12. Zavargo put in how much?
2, I think.
Just 2.
Yeah. And the bodyguard put 5.
Oh yeah, and he put 5 in as well. But he gets some back because he bet on Sylvester to win.
So the pool was 19.
Yeah, and you would half
Yeah,
that.
19. Yeah.
And you'd half that with the bodyguard, who's now also trying to help you find it. He too can't find it. He finds about 2 pieces. You find about 5.
I hand him the 5 gold. Here you go. Your winnings.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, foreigner. And he just pockets it. Well, that was a jolly good fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was quite entertaining.
Stupid fight. Arma, you said there's another fight?
Yeah, there's a team battle coming up with Neverwinter and Baldur's Gate. Apparently some groups traveled in from those cities, and they'll be fighting next. And another battle to see who can not necessarily survive, but just defeat the other team.
Not interested. I'm over this crap.
You don't want to make a bet on the next one?
No, I don't want to make another bet on another one. What I want to do is have a talk with Balvenie, but he's going to be busy.
Yes, you'll probably be resting up from that fight.
Could I turn to the wizard? He was on our left, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Pardon, but since the game is now over for the moment, would you happen to know a mending spell? And I point at the chair that Zavargo was sitting.
He looks at you and he looks up and down at you a bit as if just looking you over, and it's just like, oh, do you think I'm some kind of wizard?
What? Well, yes, you. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to offend. I'm sorry.
He just gets up and walks away.
So that means you don't know any. Okay, never mind.
Do you know any mending spells, Starbin? Could you maybe fix
No.
this?
Sadly, no. If I had known, I would not have needed to apparently offend the gentleman on the left.
Too bad. Well, maybe we should leave. If Zavargo doesn't want to watch any more fights, and if we don't
Yes.
want to deal with fixing the chair, I feel like whoever finds the gold can.
I'll just gently put the chair back and pretend that nothing happened. And then head out to find Zavargo. Yes, let's.
And I'll follow him.
Okay, so as you leave, you can hear this opening flurry of music playing, and it's sort of like not the national anthem, but like the city anthem of Neverwinter being played. And you can hear, as that's being played, like this clashing of swords on shields as the 4 fighters for Neverwinter come out. And that continues, and then the Baldur's Gate play their little theme, and they do a clashing of shields coming out as well. It's all a bit of this big pageantry type of thing happening right now.
Is any of them a dragonborn?
There are no Dragonborns.
Alright.
Okay, so you, Law, Tarbin, and Armor, you've left the Field of Triumph. Do a perception check to see if you can see Zavargo anywhere. Ooh, not 20. And a natural 1.
There we go. I've I've had 4 rolls now, and half of them is natural 1 or natural 20.
It's all. I think it's broken today. Law.
Oh, perception.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Tarbin, you're convinced that Zavago has disappeared. Maybe he's even grown wings and flown away. Law, you've noticed that there's like this natural gap in the crowd, and in the middle is a dragonborn. And Armor, you can see head and shoulders above everyone else, the head of a red dragonborn ploughing his way very angrily through the crowd.
Oh, look, he's over there. All right, let's catch up with him before he breaks anything.
I look down from staring at the sky.
Don't you see him, Tarpon, over there? No, just follow me.
No, I
I'll
don't
take you.
Lead the way.
Very well. And I just start kind of jogging after him, trying to catch up.
Okay, yeah, you usually catch up with Zavago.
Zavargo, slow down. Wait for us. Come on, let's not split up. Let's try to stay together at least for the rest of the night.
Well, then where are we going?
Well, where do you want to go?
My suggestion is done. We're done with. Just lead the way.
What time of day is it? Approximately.
Okay, so that fight that we've just seen, I mean, from beginning to end, lasted about half an hour, so it's around about 5:30. I mean, I'm happy if you want to just to skip ahead the evening, if nothing, you know, and go straight to morning, or if you want to investigate a bit more around the city, we certainly can.
I don't think I don't feel like I need to investigate anything particular in the city, but I was gonna suggest that we look up the possibility of sleeping at the mountain on the west side of Castle Ward.
In Mount Waterdeep?
Yeah, somewhere along the ridge there.
Okay, they would not let you sleep in there. Mount Waterdeep is sort of like the military housing and installation of Waterdeep itself.
Since we'll be out in the sea tomorrow and for who knows how long, maybe we should try to find a nice warm bed and have one last night of comfort before dealing with whatever we have to deal with.
Sure.
Zavago, you would know from your time in Waterdeep that just to the southwest of where you are now, in the cliff ride, which is this bit here, there are several sort of, they're really nice, or they would have been really nice houses and villas, but they're sort of run down and neglected and left. Most people in Waterdeep just leave that area alone now. They're so worn down and neglected because they basically get hit with all the elements coming off the sea. So you would know that there are houses there, possibly empty, possibly taken over by someone else.
If you guys are ready to turn in for the evening, I know of a spot. I had to stay there for a few days when I first got here to Waterdeep. It's not far from here. The houses are mostly abandoned. Hopefully any people we find there won't give us much trouble, but we might be able to find a bed or two.
Oh, I'm definitely ready to turn in after that dealing with those thugs this morning and then that creature. I'm ready for a long rest.
Good.
Yes. Okay, so you make your way to the cliff ride.
Yeah.
And the first thing you notice about the cliff ride is that it is overgrown. Like, the grass hasn't been cut, there's weeds everywhere, there's moss and vines sort of like coming through the crack in the wall that's supposed to protect the buildings from the elements. All the houses are worn down as well. Some of them don't even have complete roofs. Some of them, the windows have been smashed in, and again, the houses are covered in moss and vines. But it's also pretty inhabited right now. It appears that quite a lot of the visitors from outside of Waterdeep who have set up stores in the market have taken this area up as their own for the night. So there is quite a lot of like empty caravans, horses, carts parked up here. It looks a little bit like a travelling gypsy camp.
I guess it's not as empty as you're expecting, Zavargo.
Yeah, well, it's big, and there could be anywhere that we could just find an empty bed. Like I said.
Well, then let's look around.
Okay, so you walk around the cliff ride, and you can see that there are a few families there, talking amongst themselves. You're guessing that their other halves are currently in the market, trying to sell their wares. And you are just walking around trying to find, I guess, your own little spot in cliff ride right now. And you notice that there's sort of like a glowing fire, that crackling, embery glow coming from the house in the south.
As in it's on fire, or as in there's a fire inside it?
There's an open fire inside. It's not on fire. There's just like an open, sort of warm fire inside. What would you like to do?
How about that one? Can we slip in there? Or does the fire mean it is taken? I'm not sure of the customs here.
The customs are if you find a spot, you take a spot.
But does that mean it is taken, or does that mean it is available?
Tarbin, you're so full of questions. Why don't we just go check? And he just goes and pounds through the door.
You go through the door?
Yep.
Okay, yep.
Fargo sounds like me when I'm hungry.
He's already grumpy.
Arma, would you happen to have a Snickers? I don't actually say that. That's,
He ate his rations.
yeah.
Okay, so Vargo walks in first. He just opens the door. I didn't hear that you used your strength to open the door, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no.
Oh God.
No.
You
That's not.
you open the door, and the first thing you see, Savargo, is sort of like this open fire in the middle of this huge room that looks like this possibly might have been an inn. It could have been like the grand hall of a manor. But right now it's totally emptied out, and it's sort of like the shell of a house. But it's a huge room, and inside is this open fire, and around the open fire are several different people just trying to keep warm as the night comes in. And there's other people around the outside of the room just grouped together, and this looks like it's just sort of like an open house, basically. An older man approaches you, and he just says, "Oh, Balvenie, I thought we'd have no trouble here, Balvenie."
I'm not Balvenie. Do I look like I'm wearing that stupid armor that he's always wearing?
Oh, my mistake. I just saw the red scales glimmering in the light of the fire.
Yeah, well, not every red dragonborn walking around these parts is Balvenie.
Oh, again, my apologies. He's the only red dragonborn I know.
Space in here for 4?
Of course. And he points over to not a corner, but it's sort of like it's against the far wall as you walk in. So you'd be in like the direct line of the door. It's the coldest place basically in the room.
Good. Hey guys, there's space.
Very well. I guess we're going inside.
Looks fine to me.
Okay, so you come in and you settle yourself down for the night, and the old man just explains that he had an agreement with Balvenie that the travellers from outside the city could use this area to stay off the streets, basically, while they had their stalls in the market. Is there anything you'd like to do before you all have a nice long rest?
I'm gonna do a ritual for comprehend languages, and then when that's done in roughly 11 minutes, I'm gonna do a light cantrip on a pebble, and then I'm gonna read the book for an hour.
Okay.
I'm going to take out my box that I was given by the monks and just hold it in my hands and meditate for a while.
Okay.
I'll just
With
find
my
a
eyes
dark
closed.
corner and pull out my bird,
Okay.
play with it.
Pull out your what?
My little wooden bird.
Oh, right.
Varga's just going to go sit in their space and pull out the owlbear claws and fiddle with them.
To go with your magic owlbear cloak.
Yes.
Okay, so as you go about your business, Tarbin's sort of concentrating to cast a spell. Armor's meditating while holding a wooden box. And Law, with your wooden bird, you're playing with that, and it gets a little bit of attention from some of the children in the room because they can see you've got a little toy and they come over as well. And the old man that greeted you earlier, he walks over as well. And he goes, "Oh, it's been a while since I've seen one of those."
Oh.
Yes, it's a little tinker toy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Someone made it for me.
well, that's nice. One of the finest tinker toys I ever saw was from Baldur's Gate. This nice gentleman used to make great tinker toys.
I'm gonna have a little bit of tears come up because I know he's talking about my daddy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can see I've invaded your personal space here. And he turns to walk away, thinking that he's interrupted something.
I'm just gonna sit there and kind of cry a little bit. Triggered.
The children sort of walk away with the old man as well. A few of them are looking over their shoulder at this crying adult in the corner with a wooden bird.
It's been a hard day.
I had to find another cloak that covers these.
I just got my cramps. There's no chocolate here.
Oh no, I didn't. That's the one thing I wasn't sure I had a roll for.
I didn't know that existed in this world.
Okay, so Tobin, you can now comprehend any language you like. Which one are you going for? So the book was written in Common, Dwarven, and Elven runes.
But I understood that it's not any one. It's any written language. It's not any one written language.
Oh, so it's just any. So all written languages. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Wow.
You also understand any written language that you see, but you must be touching the surface of which the words are written.
Well, that's
So-
amazing.
Man.
Yeah.
Fine then, you read whatever you like. Okay, so
I
look.
read the book, but I'm also while reading the book, since I noticed that there are kids there, I'm gonna try to scan the book for some kind of story that I am somewhat familiar with and that I know that it is kid friendly, and then just read them a story.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so as you scan through the book, you notice that the three different texts, you already knew they were in three different languages, and you weren't sure if it was written in three different languages, so three different races could read the same story, or if it was three different texts, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. You can tell that some of the pages are written in three different languages telling the same story. However, as you flick through, there are pages where the languages tell either a different version of the same story, or there's something completely different, and there seems to be like writing that doesn't make any sense to relate to the writing above it, if that makes sense. So, for example, on one of the pages there's a story about a gnome and a giant, and it goes into detail about how this gnome befriended a giant and they went on adventures together, and it's a story about how the giant was misunderstood and thought to be evil, and all he really wanted to do was just make friends, but nobody would make friends with it apart from one of the smallest people in the kingdom, which was the gnome. It's quite a nice, cheerful story, certainly suitable for children. And that's written in common, but underneath, in the Dwarven runes, there's a paragraph that simply says, "This bollocks isn't true. I'd never make friends with a giant." And then underneath in the Elven runes, there's a note that just simply says, "20 foot to the right. There you'll find it."
20 foot to the right, there you'll find it. In Elvish.
In Elvish. In the Elven runes.
And the story was about a gnome and a giant and what?
It was about a gnome and a giant, and the general gist of it was that the giant was misunderstood. He just wanted to make friends, but no one would make friends with him because of his size and, just the natural fear of giants. But the one person in the kingdom that did make friends with him was one of the smallest people around, and it was a gnome. And that story was called The Gnome and the Giant.
Alright.
Basically, it's a little folklore fable about not judging people by their looks.
Alright. Yeah. After and when the comprehend languages spell fades off, I want to take a moment because I don't think I did that yet. So I'm going to take a moment to focus on my new toy, the pendant I took / got off Ouija.
Okay. Armor, can you do a... I don't know what would be best for this. Religion check. Okay, so during your meditation, as you hold the box, you have another little, if you like, flash and insight. It isn't as vivid, it isn't as real as the last one you had, where you saw Lathander and you saw the sash he was wearing. This one's a bit more vague, and it's of a dawn. So the sun's slowly rising, and it's casting beams of light through thick fog. And as the beams go through the fog sort of like burns and disperses away. And you can see an image that's coming out of the dawn sunrise, but you can't quite make out what that image is. And that's all you see during that little flash.
All right. After I'm done, I just lay out my bedroll and lay down in it and close my eyes.
Okay. Zavaga, what are you doing again?
He's fiddling with Owl Bear Claws. Is Lore still crying?
No, I was gonna go talk to the guy, but I can't find where I wrote my dad's name.
Could just ask the guy.
Alistair Tinker Swiftfoot.
No, that was the mentor.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, was it? Oh, okay, I've got that mixed up then.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever said a name for my dad. No.
I don't have one written down, so I don't know.
I'll just make one up.
Make one up on the spot.
Okay, let's see.
All right, Googling name generator.
Okay, I got it. How do I spell my last name? Okay, I'm gonna go talk to that guy.
Okay, he's easy to find. He hasn't left the room. As you walk over, he's sort of like in his corner of the open room, and he's rummaging through what you guess are his belongings.
Did you know the Tinker Kren very well?
He looks up from his rummaging, and he notices you, and he gives you a nice warm smile, like the kind of warm smile a grandparent gives. And he goes, "Oh, I didn't know him well. I just remember his little toys." And he turns back and starts rummaging through his stuff again, as if he's trying to look for something. Did you know them well?
He was my father. Well, adopted father.
Oh, I didn't know that. And he stands up from his rummaging again, and he hands something out to you, and he goes, "Well, I think you'll like this very much." And he opens his hand, and there's another little Tinker toy in there. And again, it's another little bird. You can have this. I'm sure it'll mean more to you than it means to me if he was your father.
Thank you. I'm gonna give him a piece of gold.
Oh, he raises his hand. He goes, No. Please, you keep that. You keep that. Have you and your friends eaten yet?
No.
Well, then feel free to join the rest of us. It's just a simple stew, but it's, it'll fill you for the night.
Thank you. I'm gonna give him like the most genuine smile I've ever given somebody. And then tell the other ones that we've been invited to food.
Okay, so the rest of the evening and the night goes along, and you sit down with the old man and the rest of the people, and the room starts to get a little bit busier as more of the merchants from the marketplace come in before they head out to the festival later on. And they sort of put their belongings away, and they get changed, and they have a meal, and you can have a lot of chatter, and it's just a swapping of stories and backstories, and you discover that the old man has been travelling for as long as he can remember, just trying to support his family, selling his wares, and his son was actually in the marketplace today trying to sell little trinkets. Nothing as grand or as fabulous as the trinkets your dad would be selling. That's it really, just a nice little evening night, and the room sort of dies down, people go to bed, and some people leave to go and see the great Ocean Bounty Festival that's going on. And that's it really. Would you like to have a long sleep?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep.
So you
I'll
all
just like lay in bed eating and crying and falling asleep.
It's so pathetic.
listening to Panic at the Disco.
Coldplay.
Tarvin mumbles in his sleep, "Have to learn the silence spell."
So what's the name of your dad? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Kren. And then the same last name.
With a C or a K?
K.
Kren Swiftfoot?
Loading.
Oh, load it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so you have a nice long rest. You regain all your health. You regain all your hit points. You gain all your spell points, and nothing spectacular happens. It's just a very good long sleep.
And we have an early awakening the next morning, so I guess we go to bed extra early as well.
Oh yes, you wake up in plenty of time to get to the docks to meet Captain Mode and Reginald Featherington. Tobin, you do feel a little, not like a little bits of pins and needles, like really soft pins and needles around your collarbone area where the trinket is, if you're wearing it there.
Yeah, I think I remember putting it on, yeah.
So you just feel like a little tingling of something happening.
Uh-oh. I try to take it off.
And it easily comes off.
Alright, I put it back on. That's fine.
Put it back on. And you feel that little tingling again.
While spending time with it last night, I didn't learn anything new, I guess. It's just
Nope, you didn't learn anything new. It's just like a well-built metallic object that when you open it, it's got a little metallic needle inside, but it doesn't seem to be pointing to true north. No matter which direction you turn, it's always just pointing north on the compass, if that makes sense. So it's not following where magnetic true north would be, it's just always pointing at 12 o'clock compass-wise.
There were no signs of any keywords?
No keywords, no engravings. It's well worn. It's a very old trinket, so any engravings that were on it have worn away.
Alright.
So your assumption would be that this has been something that's been in Wee Jimmy's family or whatever for a very long time. He did seem very upset to let it go.
I think he gave me a description of what it does, but...
Yeah, he told you it would lead you to your greatest desires.
Alright.
That's how he was able to capture all the magical beasts.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay, so you all wake up at... even before dawn's there. Dawn isn't even awake. Armor, I'm guessing you're the first to wake up because you're just like naturally attuned to wake up before dawn. You wake the rest up. You remind them that, well, we need to be awake. We need to get ready. We need to get to the dock ward. We need to meet Captain Mode. So you all get your belongings and you get ready to go. And as you're leaving, the old man, who's sort of being your host for the night, he's awake as well. Old people always wake up dead early. It's a weird thing they have. And he just turns to Law and says, "Good luck on your journey. If you see your father, please ask him to send some trinkets to Waterdeep. I haven't seen any around."
He's dead.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Trigger.
But remember, he will live on in his trinkets. He'll not be forgotten. He was a fine craftsman.
Thank you.
So you easily make your way through the streets and you arrive at the dock ward in the southern part, and you can see that the Dwarven Delight is not the only ship there. There is loads of ships there, and there's lots of people there, even though dawn hasn't broken. Lots of people from different religious groups. There are monks from the Order of Lathander, sort of just spread right across the dock from north to south. And there are family members there as well, and there's crew sort of boarding the ships, because this is going to be goodbye for a while for a lot of these people. They're going away for months to do some trade. What would you like to do?
I think we'll head straight to the Dwarven Delight.
Yeah.
Okay, so you board the Dwarven Delight, and the two sailors you've previously met let you on straight away. They recognise you from the other day. And on board the Dwarven Delight is Reginald Featherington, who spent the night there basically. It was the only way to make sure he'd be there on time.
Is he awake right now, or is he passed out on some heap of ropes?
He's asleep on the deck with some like quilt, this really old embroidered quilt, and these like goose feather sort of pillow under his head. But surprisingly, and it does show a little bit of his survival elements, there is some tarp. So he's made a little canopy for himself, so he isn't going to get wet if it rains.
I'm gonna warm up his quilt with prestidigitation. It's not gonna get hot or be uncomfortable, but I'm just gonna warm up a bit.
Okay. You just hear him go, "Oh, yes, 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 very, very nice." And he sort of like curls up a little bit more into the quilt. The morning it's a bit of a weird morning. It's a bit eerie, to be honest. There's a thick fog right across the dock ward, and the more you travelled into the dock ward, the thicker the fog got. And the sun has started to rise just a little bit, and there's beams of light coming through the fog. But it's such a thick fog that it isn't penetrating through that much, and it's probably going to take a while for the sun to burn away the fog. What would you like to do on board the ship?
Deja vu.
I guess we should talk to Captain Moat and check what the timetable is.
Just as you say that, Captain Moat's sort of like walking around, busy on top of the deck, and he's going, "Arr!" Well, sorry. And first of all, you just hear him shouting to his crew, "Aye, get that over there! Put that over there! Make sure the cargo's tied down!" And he catches you out the corner of your eye, and his accent suddenly changes. "Arr! If it isn't me guests, come on board the Dwarven Delight, put your stuff in the hold, and get yourself to work."
I'll let Captain Bird know that we are not very used to being on ships, so you would have to have somebody assigned as handing out our assignments.
Or if it isn't a bunch of land lovers. All right then. And he turns to his first mate. "Gallant." He's a bit confused. He doesn't know if you speak to Gallant in his full pirate accent or if you should speak into his normal accent. He just goes, "Gallant, take these people down to the hold, get their stuff there, get them back up, and show them how to tie some knots." First mate Gallant is a human. He is pretty young, actually, to be a first mate. And he isn't very tall. He's only about 5 foot himself, so there are times he's mistaken as Captain Mode's son. And he takes you down to the hold, he shows you where to put your stuff, he ties it away safely. You notice that Hilda's crate's down there already, so that's already been packed away. And you notice that Wee Jimmy's creature crate, one of the cages is already packed away there too. So all the stuff you were expecting to be here is already there. And he takes you back up and he just says to you, "Look, do what the captain says, and we'll all be good. He's got you covered. Our first port of business is going to be Baldur's Gate. We get some fresh supplies there. We've got some things to drop off, some things to pick up, and then we'll travel south again. I'm not entirely sure where you four are going, though. Where are you going? That old man wouldn't tell us anything last night. He just mumbled on about a jungle."
That is correct. That is where we're heading.
"A jungle?"
One step at a time, but yes.
"Oh, I've never been to a jungle before."
We'll see if you can stand us by the time we get there, but if you want to join, feel free.
Alright then. And he pulls out a piece of paper which looks like the crew manifest, and he sort of writes your names in. And he puts it back in his pocket and he goes, Okay. Well look, just stay out of the crew's way for now. Get comfortable in the hold if you want. Make sure all your stuff's here. We've got a crate from Hilda and we've got some creature box thing. Other than that, we're going to be sailing. And he sort of like looks at this weird contraption on his wrist, which sort of looks like a watch, but you're not too sure. And it's like, we'll be sailing in 6 bells.
Without having the slightest clue of what that means, I'm just going to tell him, very well, we'll be ready.
Oh, okay. So like the units of time in Faerun generally is done by bells. So if any, sort of like each village and each town usually has some sort of town hall which has a bell on it. And so like 1 o'clock could be 1 bell, 2 o'clock could be 2 bells, 6 o'clock.
So basically like hours.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Did he say in 6 bells or at 6 bells?
At 6 bells, sorry.
Okay. Could I just have a glance at Hilda's crate?
Yeah, sure. What would you like to do with it?
I just want to, check very general stuff, as in, what is it made of? How large is it? Is it a cubic shape? And does it have holes?
Okay, so it's like a rectangular cube shape. It's about 5'5", so 5'5" by 3 foot. So it's 5 foot long, 3 foot tall, and 3 foot wide. It's just normal crate. Doesn't look anything spectacular. It doesn't have any holes in it, but it does have like this stamp on it in the bottom corner.
Stamp says Hilda's property.
Yes, it
hands off.
does. Yes, it does. Word for word. Hilda's property. Hands off. So there's nothing remarkable about this crate at all, to be honest.
Right. I feel like I'm missing something. I should find out something more general about it. Can I, you said it was 5 feet high and 3 foot deep, 3 foot wide?
Yeah.
So if I take a hold of the upper corner, I just want to check how heavy it is. So if I try to wiggle it gently, not a lot, just to find out if I can make it stand on a corner, and I'm fairly weak.
Okay. Strength and perception check.
Sure. Just straight up strength?
Yeah. So like you're straining a lot to try and move this box, and it's quite rugged and quite heavy, and you're guessing it's weighing about 300 pounds at least.
I'm just googling how much that is in metric. All right, yeah, sure. All right, I got it.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Europeans. I could have said stone, and that really would have killed everyone.
Actually, it's the exact same thing if it's pounds or stones for me. They're both these weird units. But yeah, to anybody who cares, it's roughly 136 kilograms. All right.
Oh, okay, thanks.
It's heavy. Okay, so yeah, it's just heavy. This heavy crate. So it's a heavy crate, and like it doesn't make any rattling sounds or anything at all when you've tried to move it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm satisfied with this. Yeah.
Okay. You can hear from across the ward that there are. It's sort of like this. Ready for this word? Cacophony of chants going on. As the different groups start to do their different prayers for the boats, as some have already started to leave. And then you can hear the 6 bells ringing out from across Waterdeep. The main bell that you heard that announced the arrival of the first boat. That's the big main bell in the harbour. That's ringing, ding, ding, for 6, and then the smaller bells from the different churches and town halls across Waterdeep are ringing as well. And suddenly you hear from on the top. You hear Captain Moore, and he just goes, "All right, lads, it's time to go. The thick fog's going to put a little bit of a wee slaughter on this one, but we'll burn through it." And he calls for one of the sailors to go and stand at the front of the ship and hold up this sort of like big glass, magnifying glass, while another one stands behind him and sort of like holds up a lantern to blast out this very strong light, sort of like a signal light of the ship as it comes out of the dock. And you are on your way out of Waterdeep.
Hey.
We made it, guys. We made it.
Finally pissed off everyone.
Quick pause here. I'm going to get a quick drink.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yep. Same here. We're back. I am back.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back. And so you set sail from Waterdeep and run into a kraken. Let's roll your next character.
Dang.
Man, if that happened, I would laugh so much. You could say I'd be cracking up.
Ah.
That reminds me of a meme I saw. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I sent it to my other group.
Yep, good old Cthulhu. This would actually have happened if we had gone back to the spires this time.
Maybe you shouldn't have provoked Zavargo. Just saying.
In the spires in the temple.
Yeah.
I didn't provoke Zavargo. I handed him a toy. I was trying to entertain him so he wouldn't, go berserk out of
So
boredom.
he wouldn't break anything? So he wouldn't break anything is what you were going to say.
That's what I was going for. It's not my fault it backfired.
Well, you didn't have to hand him another one.
No, that one I actually felt like I had to.
Well, we've gone this far. Might as well finish.
So sorry to the damage to your temple, Rob.
Oh, it's not my temple. It's my people's temple. My temple's an Evening Star.
I just figured that, if there's a tiny thing that isn't actually a real danger to anybody, they're going to put some kind of novices on repair duty and use it as character building or something.
There you go. You're giving them an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
That's what I figured, but turns out they weren't of the same opinion.
Is everyone back?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think so.
Okay, so the morning's fairly straightforward, and you leave the harbour of Waterdeep and you start heading south towards Baldur's Gate. And it's a little bit of a slow pace to begin with because the fog's pretty heavy, but it starts to lift as the morning comes in and the sun burns away the fog. And it's sort of like this strange, peaceful voyage as you sail south. Captain Maud invites you into his little office, if you like. Just have a little chat with you. So you meet Captain Maud in his office.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. If summoned, then I appear at least.
Mhm.
Could be fun.
Arma's annoyed. I was trying to meditate.
Am I still muted? Oh, okay. Yeah, I go there too. I meet him.
Okay, so you're all in here. Sorry, I was just getting the tokens out. So you're all in Captain Mudd's office, and he's got like this warm flask of something sitting in the middle. Help yourselves to a drink. And yes, after I dropped that ridiculous accent, it's just something I keep up for a laugh.
And the beard? What about the beard?
What do you mean? What about the beard? This is my beard.
Very well, very well.
Does that mean I get 2 gold, Torben?
No,
Ah, come on!
What's this 2 gold business all about?
oh nothing. We have constant wagers with him.
Anywho. Welcome aboard the Dwarven Delight. Have any of you sailed before?
I have not.
Not me.
What about you, lass?
No.
did.
Only took a boat from Baldur's Gate to here, but nothing in the open ocean.
Well, that's more than these cloons have. Right, the first thing you should know is this is the calmest it'll get. The seas get rough. So hold on to your dinner. If you throw up, you clean up.
Fair enough.
Secondly, if anybody offers you a drink, and he motions to the drink in the middle of the table, bloody well take it.
Did he put down a drink for everyone? Like a drink for each?
It's just like this big flask in the middle, and he pours himself a drink and takes a swig of it.
Okay. I pour a drink. There's another cup and.
You're not gonna get served hands and knees on here, you serve yourself. Which brings me on to the other thing. Everyone pulls their own weight. You might be paying guests, but I still expect you to muck you in. This voyage is going to last for weeks, if not months. And we can't be having any freeloaders.
Very well. What will we need to do?
You listen to First Mate Gallant, and if he's going to teach you how to tie knots, do it. That's the basic stuff. I'm not going to ask you to scrub the decks. But just, if someone asks you to lend a hand, lend a hand.
Sure.
Sounds doable.
How far south are you going?
Did we not tell you where we were going?
Not a bloody word.
And you did not hear this from what's his name? McGruffin?
McGarvin?
McGarvin, so close. You did not hear this from McGarvin then?
No, he just said you were going south.
I'm trying to figure out the names of those things. There's the map. We are going to the southern part of the Shining Sea. There are some jungles there that we need to explore.
Oh, bloody hell, I've never been that far south before. You do know the pirates rule the seas down there?
We do now.
Bloody marvellous.
Actually, I would probably actually know that.
Yeah, It depends how long you've been away. How long have you been away?
I've probably been there more recently than he has because I left roughly 405 days ago. Roughly.
Yeah, about the same to be honest. Yeah, you would know that the pirates rule them seas now.
I mean, it's just a matter of 1 year, so.
Yeah. Captain Maud's heard it through word of mouth. You would know firsthand.
Right. I let nothing of this on.
Alright then. Look, we've only gonna go as far south as well, maybe it's Baldur's Gate, but we can keep going. We can keep going. But that's about it basically. If you follow them rules, do alright.
Since I've actually been to Baldur's Gate, I believe. Do I know if Baldur's Gate has an actual seaport or?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate, it's a bit inland, but the river, ships can go down the river in it. It does have a harbour.
So you are not going further south than Baldur's Gate?
Aye, we will. But we need to stop off there first. We've got cargo to drop off and pick up there.
Sure.
You know, that's how I make my money.
Of course.
He takes
Well, we need to deliver the crate to Calimport. Hilda, will you at least deliver that with us? For her?
Oh, aye, that bloody crate. I forgot all about that. I guess we will be going to Calimport then. And he just, like, takes a big swig from his cup and pours another one.
Good. And then once we get there, we can decide what to do next.
Aye, we'll do that.
Maybe you would like to set some new records for how far south you can go.
His eye twitches a bit. Are you being a funny bugger?
No. I start touching my face as if there's something wrong with. What is a funny bugger? Am I turning in something?
He looks at Zavago. Listen, I've never had a dragonborn on board before. Are you one of those that breathes fire or breathes poison?
I breathe fire, and these
Oh.
ones here, they already give me crap about it. So hear it from you.
Oh no, you breathe fire on a wooden boat.
You're breaking up really bad now.
Yeah, you've dropped completely there, Zavago.
Am I still breaking up?
Yeah.
Time.
I'm connected.
Time to shut down the torrents.
No.
What's your ping on Discord?
Are you guys able to hear me at all?
Barely.
It's distorted quite a bit.
Where's the ping, by the way?
How do you see it?
Yeah.
If you click the little info right next to the
Oh, there you
disconnect
go.
button.
Mine is 29 milliseconds.
Darn. I'm solid at 110. Or my average is 109.
Zorago, how is it now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, much better now.
Hey.
Awesome.
Alright, and you? I've never heard of Dragonborn on board before. Are you the kind that breathes fire or breathes poison?
I breathe fire.
Oh, bloody hell, none of that on here, alright?
Don't worry, I have no plans of breathing fire anymore.
He already held himself for an entire day yesterday.
What, so he's bound to explode?
No, I believe we can manage at least weeks, right? Right?
I don't want no Dragonborn farting fire.
And all the time I've been with him, he's only breathed fire once, and that was just in a moment of extreme distress. And,
We've only
I
burned
think-
one thing down.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay, and I think he'll be able to control himself, and
Why would you
I
even
think
bring
he'll
that
be
up,
fine.
Lore? He didn't know about that.
He reaches forward and goes, perhaps none of the brew for you then, eh? Alright,
Perhaps only weak brew so that he can quench the fire.
weak brew, are you winding me up?
No.
Weak brew? I can tell you're from the south. Right then, oh aye, one more thing. That old man up there, he's entirely your responsibility. I can't remember his name. Something about featherings or something. Claims he's a hunter, but he couldn't hold down his dinner, we were in port.
Maybe he just needs some time to get used to the boat. I don't know if he's been on a boat before. He talks about a lot of things, but who knows what he's actually done.
I will see.
So how long will it take to get to Baldur's Gate?
I'll take I think I'll take about 4.5 days. So half of 10. Aye, so half of 10 days.
Okay, so is that usually a safe journey from Waterdeep to Baldur's Gate? Or do you ever run into trouble?
Wait, the sea is never safe. You never know when a storm's gonna spring up. And the Shogun, we've been reading boats a lot more lately.
The what now?
The Shogun?
No, not the Shogun. The Shahogan. You know, the fishy reptile beasties that come out of the sea.
Oh, I'm not familiar with those, but they do not sound like fun.
Well, of course they're not fun. They come and raid your boat.
Well, you seem to have quite an assembly of trebuchets out there, so maybe we're safer.
Gonna be honest with you, lad. They're for bloody show. My crew wouldn't know how to use them if a bloody miracle happened.
But should we not then dump them overboard because we can travel faster without them? They seem quite heavy.
He puts his hand to his head. Listen. How about you get your own bloody boat? I'll come on there and I'll tell you how to be the captain, eh?
I apologize. I
No,
did not
listen,
mean-
you be quiet. One more word from you and you go overboard.
I do not say a word.
Have you fought one of these with these beasts, these reptilian beasts before?
No, I've been lucky. They generally can't catch this boat because it's pretty quick even with the trebuchets.
I believe it.
Aye, you wanna? I've never had to fight them, but a few of my friends have. They say they're vicious beasts.
But these friends survived?
Well, aye, otherwise they
Did
wouldn't
you
have been
talk
able...
to
Well, of course they survived, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to tell me.
How did they defeat them?
With their swords, their boards, and their balls.
Well, I think we've got plenty of those. Or some of us do.
Anyway, I've said what I've had to say. The rest of yous can bugger off now.
Very well. Thank you for your time.
Hi.
And I'll just grab onto Tarbin and lead him out the door.
You don't have to grab on these.
Or I'll direct Tarbin out the door.
Yes.
Okay, so what would you like to do now?
I'm going to pull out my fishing pole and go to one end and try to start fishing from the side of the boat or the end of the boat. We'll say we'll go to the stern and fish from there, but Armor wouldn't know that. Armor will go to the back of the boat.
Okay.
Did Duke
Argo
try
will
to say
climb.
something?
Svargo will climb to the top of the mast, try to get a better connection.
Tarbin's gonna try to figure out how the trebuchets work
Okay.
without shooting anything. Just want to try to figure out the mechanics of it.
Just start shooting everywhere.
Pew 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 pew. I think I've heard speech generators with more sense.
Has he been abducted by aliens and they're talking for him now? Oh,
One of these
great.
days, I hope the US will get proper internet connections.
It's Stephen Hawking.
he's a little further west.
Svargo, blink one for yes, blink twice for no. Can you hear us?
Ooh, that must be frustrating listening to us and that not being able to retort.
So it's upload issues.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a bummer.
This is just what?
Oh.
My sympathies.
We can call it a day if you want.
Doesn't matter to me. I don't know if it's gonna be a.
I think it'd be better than him missing out on anything.
I don't think that's a good idea. It's made out of wood.
Make sure he douses it in water before he puts them in there.
Maybe we just should put Zavargo in tow or something. I mean, he can't lit the ocean on fire, can he? No, can he? Seriously?
And you guys still can't.
It's barely. It breaks up really badly.
I don't have full signal, so.
Group's call what to do.
I'm fine with going on, or just trying to do small little roleplay things. Oh, I don't know. If there's not going to be any major events,
We don't know yet.
yeah.
No, I'm fine either way.
Same. We can keep going, and then if there's anything that he has to talk on, he can type in chat or something. See if that works.
That should work.
It's not ideal, but it's
Okay.
better than nothing.
Maybe he lost his voice and he has to write down what he's saying.
With his 7 intelligence.
It looks like it's just scribbles.
Ham-fisted crayon drawings of what he would like to do.
Cool.
Sure.
Okay, so you go about your business. Armors went to the back. Is that the bow? The back? I don't know. No, the bow's the bottom of the boat.
Yeah, the stern. Yeah,
Ah.
isn't the bow the front? The stern and the bow.
I will have to Google
And then
boat terms for next time.
Left side is the port, and the right side is starboard. And then the poop deck is where you take care of business.
Whee! And Zavago's fishing as well. Okay, so Armor and Zavago are fishing. I'm guessing that's a friendly competition.
Yeah, we're both trying to figure out how to do it. Or at least I am. Because I've never done it. And I give him the big fishing pole and bring out the tackle and the other fishing pole and attempt to bait it and just toss it into the ocean as we go.
So you've got
Just-
one of these 6-foot rods, and Zavago's got the 12-foot rod?
Yep.
Just from my mental picture. And Tarbin, you're fiddling with the trebuchets.
Yes.
And Law, what you doing?
I'll watch them.
You're watching them fish?
Yeah.
Okay. Tarbin, do a investigation check.
Sure.
I'm mostly watching because I'm waiting for Zvargo to break his fishing pole.
He swings his fishing rod too much. It hits the boat, and the boat is now in half. Okay, so Torben, you're looking over these trebuchets, trying to work out how they work. And you've worked out like the most basic element of how they work. You know that you need to put in one of the great metal rods into the middle and somehow wind the firing mechanism back to fling the rod forward, but you're not too sure how you'd operate the reload mechanism or how you would aim them yet.
All right.
And as you're doing that, First Mate Gallant comes over to you. So you're looking at the trebuchets.
Yes, I was told by the captain that none of the crew members have really figured out how they work.
No, they're just basic sailors. This isn't the... And he checks over his shoulder to make sure one's there. This isn't like the greatest fighting ship in the world, you know.
No, I just figured that since we do have these on board, that perhaps somebody should know how they work.
Well, they're mainly for show, you know. We stick them out of the side with the bolts sticking out, and generally people just leave us alone.
That actually works?
Yeah. If you look the part, people believe it.
I guess I'm just used to deception not working that well.
Oh well. You'll learn.
Fair enough.
So this jungle to the south I've heard about.
Yes.
I'm guessing by your accent you're from the south.
Yes, how astute.
So have you been to the jungles?
No, sadly, I'm not that far. I am not from that far south.
Oh, I see. But you must have heard of the jungles, though.
Yes, some. Why do you ask?
Is it a scary place?
That would depend on if you scare easily or not.
Ah, makes sense. He lets out a little laugh. I've spent my whole life at sea, really. I mean, I'm only 23, but I sometimes wonder if there's more to being at sea.
There's always more to everything. There are cities at the edge of the jungle, as far as I know, and the people who live there do not, I assume, they do not live in fear. So.
Oh, wow, cities on the edges of jungles. I've only ever seen port cities, as you can imagine.
They can be both.
Yeah, up and down the Sword Coast, Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter, Waterdeep. Up and down, up and down.
You sound like you feel it's time for something new.
Well, possibly. I mean, I'm happy to be here. Captain Mode's looked after me.
So you're not longing for something new?
I don't know. Sometimes I do feel a bit restless, like I want more. But then, if it hadn't been for Captain Mode, I probably wouldn't have had anything.
So are you here for yourself or for Captain Mode?
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh.
My friend, I put a hand on his shoulder. Life is short. You should figure out what you want.
Yeah, possibly. I'll think about that. He walks away, like, deep in thought.
This is gonna end up with Tarban accidentally inciting a mutiny. And I just know it.
Okay, so the rest of the day is pretty... Wait for it. Plain sailing. Nothing of instant happens, and generally this sailing log's going to be pretty easy. The night shift, they wake up to take their turn of sailing. It's just a two-man crew for the night shift. One spot and one sailing. And you return to your quarters. And you notice that Armour and Zavago have caught a fair few fish.
Oh, yes.
Alma, would you like to describe and share what fish you have caught?
Okay. Well, we caught this rather long, thin-looking fish. I'm not sure exactly where it is. And yes, this biggest one was caught by Zavargo. He was battling with that one for a good 10 minutes. Took him a while to pull it in, even with his large strength. Somehow he was able to reel it in without breaking anything. I was rather impressed. He did quite well. And then we caught a few other of these smaller fish, these little small grayish looking just normal fish. But yes, Savargo caught the biggest fish.
You hear a fisted thump on the door. Hey, look! If you've got supper, you want to hurry up and bloody well cook it for the rest of us, eh?
I've never cooked this before. I would have no idea. You're a sailor? Don't you know how to cook?
Aye, but I'm the bloody captain. I ain't gonna be cooking, eh?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know who I was talking to. Well then, do any of your sailors know how to cook fish? I'm sure you've got a cook or somebody who usually handles that.
Well, of course we know how to bloody well cook fish. Bring the fish out here and we'll cook it.
Very well. And I just take the rest of the fish out to where he is.
And you all gather around and one of the sailors is cooking the fish and you have a little chat and it's like a sharing of stories. You discover that one of the sailors has left his family to become a sailor because he was bored of being a family man. He didn't do anything apart from collect taxes for the local baron and he just wanted a different life. And you hear that the first officer Gallant, he tells his story about how he was an orphan boy and Captain Mode took him on board at a young age, rescued him from a life of poverty down in Baldur's Gate. Captain Mode doesn't really speak about himself though, he just happily munches away on the fish that's being cooked for him. Would any of you like to share your stories?
Oh man, we were fishing just earlier today. There was this huge fish that we saw, and Vargo got on the line for a little bit, but somehow it was able to kind of snap part of the line and get away. But it was huge, almost half the size of this boat. If we had caught that, man, we would be eating for days.
Captain Mode lets out a laugh. You've been on a boat one bloody day, and you're already coming up with the fish and tails of the one that got away.
Oh, but yeah, this one was huge. If only you had been there to see it. Isn't that right, Zavargo?
Stupid fish.
Aye, a bloody bet, and like the rest of the crew were doing a bit of a laugh as well.
Hey. I'm gonna glare at him a little bit, but a playful glare.
Okay, so the crew retreats and they all go to sleep, apart from the two who are doing the night shift. And you wake up in the morning, and again, it's been another peaceful night, and you've travelled south, and you now find yourself sort of in the open sea. I mean, you can see the Sword Coast, but you can't see any like noticeable landmarks. And as you spend your morning on the deck, sort of getting used to it, and you see Reginald Featherington, who's just sort of bumbling around, talking to the crew. You notice overboard that there is a pod of dolphins following the ship, and they're sort of just arching out of the water and arching back in. It's a very nice sight.
In lack of any orders, then Tarban's just gonna enjoy watching the dolphins.
So this
Same.
day, most just like previous day, it goes flying by. Nothing really happens. And you think this life at sea is pretty easy stuff.
This is nice. I could do this for a longer time.
Yes, it's quite peaceful. I am enjoying this immensely.
And so you keep working your way down the Sword Coast. And another day passes. I don't know why it's still a horse. I should have changed it to a boat. It's this boaty horse thing keeps going down.
It's a horse-shaped boat.
And on the third morning, you wake up, and it is the most perfect weather conditions that a captain could wish for. The sea is smooth. It is like absolutely still. This calmest, smoothest waves you've ever seen, and the wind is blowing from the north directly south. It's pushing you directly where you need to be, and you can see that Captain Morty's standing on deck. He's looking very proud. The wind is blowing his toilet brush beard all over the place, and he's just like, this is why you become a sailor. And you actually managed to cut 2 days travel off of your time. The weather is that good. And you can see that the mouth of the river Shunthar is approaching. And there's a few like little, not islands, but they're just little land masses outside of there as well. And Captain Mode turns to you and goes, "We'll be at Baldur's Gate tomorrow. I'm not sailing through there now though." So he drops anchor and he sort of moors the boat, waiting for more daylight to navigate down the river towards Baldur's Gate. What would you like to do while you wait?
I'm sure I'll just be fishing some more and trying to practice to get better at it and more experience while just relaxing and meditating throughout the day.
If we're it's getting progressively worse, huh? Oh, all right. See ya, Duke. See you next week.
Bye.
If there's a gathering during the evening, I'll tell the men some stories, but otherwise, I don't think that there's anything in particular that I should do.
I mean, there's always a bit of a gathering, you know. The sailors are a tight-knit bunch, and they always come together in the evening just to drink and to gamble and to play some games. Captain Mode's actually on the deck, and he's just looking out towards across the horizon, looking at the land masses that are bobbling over on the horizon to the west and back up to the north. If you want to do anything.
Nope.
No, I'm good with the storytelling. That's fine.
Okay.
Lore,
No, I'm good.
sitting there, glaring at Zavargo.
I'm just eating everything you guys catch.
Oh, now that I think about it, if I could have spent some time on the voyage just playing with my staff and testing it out away from everybody and seeing what it does.
Me?
I'm sorry, what?
I would like to play with my staff and try to see if I can figure out exactly how to use it correctly so it does what I want. The gym and my staff. But yeah, I would
I'll
just
just watch him do that.
test it, saying different words, trying to figure out exactly what it does, randomly shooting off bright lights and whatnot.
Okay, so I'll we'll say that so for the last 3.5 days, every bit of downtime you've been sort of like learning about your staff.
All right.
We had a dwarven woman where I come from who used to do that, and
Man, I've
she
had-
would get paid very handsomely actually for people watching her do that.
35 years with, and now I'm just starting to learn to use the staff.
If you
What,
if
what
you
were they
roll
hiding from me in the monastery?
if you roll a Arcana check, please.
All right. Hey.
Okay, so you're still none of the wiser really how to
All right.
bend the staff to your will and make it do exactly what you want and exactly how to emit the light power that you.
Oh, careful, careful! You don't want to hurt yourself while bending your staff.
Thank you.
You notice a few of the sailors are looking at you, just thinking, "What is this clown up to?"
I just picture that video where the guy was like lightsaber battling
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
in the garage.
And
No worries, he's just getting used to his staff.
a few of the sailors now have a nickname for you, and they call you Staffy. Which over the days has actually morphed into Stiffy. Such as sailor humor.
All right.
I'm gonna call him Stiffy.
Oh no, what have I done?
Torben, how have you been spending the downtime a little bit? So I would
Collecting legends, I guess, just from the sailors.
legends
having
from the
them-
sailors.
Yeah, having them tell me stories about the Jahogan and other, basically stuff they have run into and stuff they haven't run into, and stuff of legends.
Okay, so the sailors have been doing like a little bit of one-upmanship on you. They think that you're just buying anything they say, really. And the tale started off pretty normal, pretty believable. They talked about just how they've been sailing and how they've seen birds, big fish. And then one of the sailors came out with he saw a merwoman. So the other sailor went up to him and said, well, he kissed a merwoman. And then that sailor came back with, oh well, I slept with the merwoman. So the other sailor now has told you he slept with 3 merwomen. And it's that kind of thing, it's all building up like that. And one of the sailors came out with that he armor wrestled a kraken. And it's getting to the point now, you're not too sure if they're telling the truth or if they're just winding you up.
I'm pretty sure they're just trying to see who can credibly outdo each other at this point. But
Pretty
this-
much.
this in itself becomes a story for me.
As a point, have you been writing in the journal that Lord Silverlash gave you?
No, not yet, because there
Okay.
haven't been much. He would not be interested in any of the things that have happened so far, anyway.
Okay. And Law, what have you been in?
I've been watching Arma play with his staff mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
eating.
like what you see.
I'm very impressed.
The bending.
And I'm just having a lot of thoughts about how shitty
His
forgot
staff
his
work
name.
is.
I forgot his name, my ex-boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, Oscar.
Jasper.
Oh, Jasper.
Yeah, how shitty Jasper is.
You have noticed that one of the trinkets, your trinket, not the one that was gifted to you just recently, but your trinket, it's always moved a little bit, but you're sure it's a little bit more active than it's been before.
Since the other one.
It could be because the other one's there. It could be due to your proximity to Baldur's Gate. You're not too sure what it could be.
I guess I'll just you remember how people used to put the 2 Furbies in front of each other?
Yeah.
I'll do that with the little birds just to see like if it does anything.
Yeah, one cheeps and the other one cheeps back. And it's like they're having a little conversation. Okay. I'm gonna wind it down here. I feel like without Zavargo being here, it's a bit. I don't want to advance too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's fair.
So where you are right now, you're moored just outside Baldur's Gate. I think it's about 2 miles maybe. Oh, not even that. 120 miles. You're due to get there tomorrow morning. Captain Mode doesn't want to sail through the rocky, dangerous bits of the river mouth as the dusk starts to settle. So you will get there tomorrow, which will be next session.
Nice.
All right, great. Well, I had fun, guys. I gotta go. I'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
Yes.
Bye.
See ya. Yes, I'm gonna go as well. Thank you very much.
Me too. Bye.
Bye.